As a group, 740 has put out countless videos, music, everything that you can possibly think of. We've done it all. But of course, not everything that we think of always comes to fruition. So I've been compiling a list of every unreleased project that 740 has ever tried to do, but it never ended up happening. By the way, none of this is in order. I just wrote down what I could think of. All right, so we gonna start this off with The Curious Case of 740.
Do transition sound effect.
So Curious Case is a project I started working on after I watched the movie Seven, which is a mystery thriller type movie, so I wanted to write my own mystery. Honestly, the reason I didn't finish it is because number one, it was getting harder for us to film shit, and number two, I also couldn't think of a fucking mystery to write. I was writing everything that was building up to something that wasn't written yet. So this was my only skit that we had ever done where we weren't playing characters. I was gonna have everybody playing as themselves. Quan playing Quan, Lucas playing Lucas. From what I have written, which is about 4 scenes, it's about 3 pages worth of text, I had 6 members of 740 that were written into the film. The plan was to have everybody have their own part in the movie. So what I had was it was a buildup of everybody experiencing this phenomenon, you know, this strange occurrence happening to them. Whether it was the person next to them disappearing or Lucas got kidnapped in his scene. That was my favorite scene to write. But I just couldn't think of like a plot twist to put in it. I was just writing to write at that point, so it never actually finished. Okay, next up is Mania.
Transition sound effect.
So Mania was something that I barely started. I didn't have any scripts or anything. I just had the rough outline that I wanted for the concept. The main character was going to be played by Juan, and it was going to be this cat and mouse chase between Juan and the killer. This was also taking a lot of inspiration from Seven, just like The Curious Case was. It was going to be Detective Martinez on the chase for the Paradox Killer, who I hadn't casted at the time, so I don't know who I would have played him by. It would have been a mystery anyway. We probably wouldn't have revealed his identity until like the ending of the whole thing. Next up is Frankenjuan.
Transition sound effect.
So Frankenjuan was gonna have 3 cast members, at least from what I had written at the time. It was gonna have Juan, who played Dr. Frankenjuan. It was gonna have Caesar, who played Frankenjuan's monster, and it was gonna be Lucas as Frankenjuan's lab assistant. Now, if you don't know anything about the original Frankenstein story, it's a common misconception that Frankenstein is the name of the monster. It's not true. Frankenstein was the last name of the guy who created the monster. So I really enjoyed the original Frankenstein story. I thought it was genius, and I wanted to make my own version of it because I thought it would be funny as fuck to have Caesar's dumbass playing a fucking monster. But it's also another common misconception that Frankenjuan's monster is this like thoughtless, emotionless being. It's not true at all. He's actually a genius. So that's kind of where it fell off in terms of writing, because I realized that I was overwriting the script. Like seriously, I believe that if we had finished Frankenjuan, it would have been my best thing ever. Like it would have been better than the Fat Man, because my writing was it was fire, because I had the experience of writing the Fat Man, and now I'm taking what I've learned and I'm making a new project. But I just felt like Caesar was not ready to say the shit that I was writing, because it was hard for him to even act as the Fat Man, who only spoke in these short, emotionless sentences. Like he was having trouble, you know, remembering lines like "how dare you" or some bullshit like that. So I definitely knew that there's no way he's gonna be able to remember the shit that I'm writing for this. I had a lot of faith in it, man. I had a lot of faith, and I really wanted to do this, but it's a pipe dream now. It's not gonna ever end up happening. I had about 3 pages worth of script already written for this before I just canned it, because I knew it was not gonna happen. It was fun to write though. All right, next up we have The Fat Man 2.
Transition sound effect.
So originally The Fat Man was going to be a trilogy, but after we realized how long it took just to film the first one, we cut it down. But I wanted to continue the series, I just knew we couldn't film the second one. So I ended up writing a book, or at least I started it. The Fat Man 2 was not going to be another YouTube video. It was actually going to be a novel that I was writing during my 7th period in senior year. I actually got pretty far. I got like 5 full pages. Not just like scenes, but pages. And you know how hard it is to fill up a Google Doc with actual fucking writing. So the plot was going to be about the aftermath of the Fat Man killing the smoker at the end of the first Fat Man video. Since he broke his code, he was depressed and quit being the Fat Man, but the crime doesn't stop. So it was going to be all about him being forced to return to the streets of Gotham, and because there was going to be this new enemy, this new villain that I was going to write into it, but I didn't get to that yet. Honestly, if I could write this whole thing, it would probably be like 100 pages long, but I had a lot of shit to focus on, like fucking graduating, you know, getting my grades up and shit. No, but I really enjoyed writing this. I thought this is probably like the best my writing has ever been. I know I just said that about Frankenwan, but it's easier to write for something that you're not going to end up having to film. So I could just let my imagination run wild. Next up, independent contractors.
Do. Transition sound effect.
So Independent Contractors was a series that I wanted to do. It was going to be our first ever show. We did the short film, we did the short skits, of course, so I wanted to do a TV show. Independent Contractors was about Quan and Quan. It was going to be a buddy cop series. The first episode was fully written, the entire script is finished. We just never got to film it. At the time, it was really hard to get everybody's schedules aligned. Plus, it had to take place where it was sunny and it was a nice ass day out. But I ended up finishing the script when it was cold as hell out. So we couldn't finish. We just had to wait until it got warmer out. But by the time it was warmer out, I didn't want to fucking do it anymore. Aside from Quan and Juan, it was also going to have Caesar in it, Caesar Smith. He was going to play this Mexican criminal who didn't speak any English. And we actually got pretty into it with the scripts. Like, we had a whole ass car chase scene in it. And I think in terms of like the longer videos that I have shot in the past, this probably would have been like one of the funnier ones, like how we do the funny ass skits. And this is probably the one that is least possible to film now because Caesar literally isn't even here anymore. So even if we wanted to film it, we would have to not only wait for Caesar, but it would also have to be perfect weather conditions. But it's not because it's also winter right now. But Independent Contractors, yeah, that was gonna be a good one. And that was something that I could easily have written more scripts for because it was not that hard. I didn't have to get all philosophical with it like I did with Frankenwan and shit. So next up, we have 740 Forever.
Do. Transition sound effect.
This was supposed to be the final installment of the 740 music. It was called not only 740 Forever because it was supposed to be like a final send-off, but it was also our fourth project that we were going to release. So 740 Forever, you get the deal. The name was created, I believe, by Cesar Campos. We were in the group chat trying to think of names for the final tape, and he pulled that out, and everybody was like, yeah, that's the one, that's the one. I'm the only one who ended up doing any work. Well, that's not true. It was me and Lucas, because I sent Lucas an open track. It was going to be like a 6-person track, and the song only has a verse from me and Lucas on it. I also sent it to, I think, Juan, Ian, Alex M and shit. Like, nobody else sent their verse back except for Lucas. So the version on there is just me and Lucas. Everything was ready, bro. Everything was ready and set to go. We had everybody's tracks set up in BandLab. I know Alex wrote some lyrics, so I at least applaud him for writing lyrics for 2 of the songs. Next up is the legendary 740 documentary.
Do. Transition sound effect.
Which I don't even like to refer to as a documentary. I like calling it 740, a retrospective. That's the official title of the video. The file literally has that title. Technically it's released, but technically not, because some members of the group chat have seen the footage and some haven't. I finished it. It was over an hour long of content, and I put it up on YouTube and it got taken down instantly. 7 fucking copyright strikes. They killed me. So what I did was I had a red carpet premiere. I live streamed it on Twitch. There were like 3 people watching at the time. I know that Cesar Campos has seen it. I know that Ian has seen it. Of course, I've seen it. I know that Alex M has seen it, and I don't know who else. So yeah, technically, you know, it's fully finished and all that, but it's not released because it was taken down. And there's no other place I can put it on. I can't put it on Twitter. I can't even put it on X videos or anything like that, because the issue is not only copyright, but it's an hour long. So some websites don't allow that big of a video. It's literally 11 gigabytes. That's game size, bro. It's literally the size of a fucking indie game. Next up, the 740 weight loss challenge.
Do. Transition sound effect.
We tried this 2 times and it technically is released. It's technically released. You can go on Spiritual Stroud right now and watch a little bit of that video. But the full challenge was supposed to be 30 days. We only got like 5 days worth of footage. It was canceled due to, I don't want to say unforeseen events, because it was seen. It was seen. We all knew it was gonna happen. But yeah, if you want to watch a little bit, you know what I'm saying, small preview of what the video would have looked like, go on Spiritual Stroud and watch it. I think it would have been one of our best videos if it did end up being finished, but it didn't, so we moved. Next up, we got the sleep stream.
Do. Transition sound effect.
I did put this video on YouTube, fully finished and edited. I put it on YouTube and it got blocked because y'all were too racist in the fucking text-to-speech. Y'all dropped so many slurs that it got my video not just banned in certain countries like Russia and shit where it usually happens. Y'all got it completely taken off YouTube for hate speech. So what I had to do is I went back and I I re-edited the video and I bleeped out every single bad word, including not just the slurs, but shit like fuck. I took everything away. I re-uploaded it and it still got blocked because the text on the screen. I'm like, yo, I'm not about to go and blur all the text on the screen because that would ruin the video. You gotta see the text. If you can't fucking hear what they're saying because it's bleeped and shit, then you can at least read what they're saying. So I wasn't about to go and do that. That would ruin the entire video. And finally, this is the last thing I can think of. I know I'm probably missing like one or two things. I got skaters.
Do. Transition sound effect.
Now, I guarantee you that none of y'all even know what skaters is, except for Caesar and Deshaun because they were there when we filmed it. So I'll put it on screen right now. Skaters was a little project that we filmed. This is when they first started getting decent at skating. At least Deshaun was getting decent. We wanted to do this hand cam, short little montage, you know, throwback shit. I took the video down after like 2 days because I realized, yo, this is kind of ass. We ended up doing more skating videos in the future, of course, like, you know, the 40-minute long documentary, The Homeless Mag Doc. And we also did like, I think we revamped Skaters and we turned it into a 2-episode series with Diego and Lucas and shit. And of course, the Homeless Mag Chicago Skate Day.
Do. Transition sound effect.
And that's it. That is all that I can think of. Let me know in the group chat when y'all see this if there's anything that I missed. I'm not doing things that were never scheduled in the first place. Like I'm not gonna put Juan versus Diego Fayad or Chuchin versus Cesar Campos. I'm not gonna do that. But thank you guys for watching. You know, I'm thinking about making more YouTube videos. It's just I hate going and editing all the shit. It's tedious. Anyway, just thank you guys for watching. Spiritual Stroud, Gazer. I'm out. Peace.